Welcome to the Nerdstalgic podcast with your host, the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm.
Howdy beans, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Nerdstalgic podcast. I'm your host, Luke the Human. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all good, as per usual. Before we get into today's topic, I want to do a bit of housekeeping because I like to keep my house nice and clean. So make sure that you're following the Nerdstalgic podcast on Twitter at Nerdstalgic_pod to be kept up to date on everything and anything that I'm doing, watching, playing, reading, and all that jazz. Also, if you listen to this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, liking and commenting help me out the most. As of recording this, I'm currently at 144 subscribers, and I would really like to get 150 before the end of summer. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps me out immensely. Also, one more thing. If you listen to this on Spotify, don't forget to leave a star rating from 1 to 5 stars. 5 stars, best thing you've ever heard in your life. I haven't said that in a long time. 1 star is the worst thing you ever heard. Whatever you feel like is fair, please do rate it. It helps me out so much. Right, so today's topic is going to be the Xbox Showcase 2024. Oh, I'm really excited for this one. I am, and I have never apologized for this because it's the complete truth. I am a huge Xbox fanboy. I have been for years. Even though I've had all the different consoles, I've had GameCubes, I've had Xboxes, I've had PlayStation, currently have a gaming PC, I've had the Wii, of Game Boys, and Dreamcast, and I've had a plethora of consoles throughout the years. Xbox has always been my go-to machine ever since the Xbox 360. That's what really got me into gaming hardcore, and that was just the console that I gravitated towards, and it has been ever since. I've had all the Xboxes since. I still have an Xbox 360e, which is one of the last Xbox 360s that was made before they shut down production of the 360 and then just focus on the Xbox One and everything else that came after it. I still like to play Xbox 360. That's how much of an Xbox fan I am. And I covered the Xbox Showcase last year. I really enjoyed myself. Actually, I think that was the one showcase that I enjoyed the most out of it all, because like with the Summer Showcase and Ubisoft, especially with the Summer Showcase, you never know what you're going to get. It's always random. And with Ubisoft and Xbox, they're two studios that whenever they do showcases, you can always kind of guess what you're going to see. You always mostly going to see something for Halo. You're going to see something for Gears of War, or you're going to see something for Assassin's Creed or Far Cry, or like Watch Dogs or something like that. You just have a feeling you know what you're going to get, but you're still surprised. And I'm always surprised whenever I watch the Xbox Showcase. But one thing I want to do before we get into sort of my memories of last year and my hopes of what I want to see this year, I do briefly want to talk about the issue we had a few weeks ago, beginning of May, really, when Xbox shut down a lot of studios, 4 studios to be specific: Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and 2 other studios. The reason I want to mention here, mostly because I probably won't get another chance to mention it anywhere else, so I just wanted to mention it here. My thoughts and feelings on it is, I understand why they did it, because at the end of the day, you can't go out and spend upwards of like $70 to $75 billion on a studio like Activision, as well as spending, I think they spent, what was it, 5 or 6 billion on Bethesda and completely, as well as ZeniMax and all that. You can't make big, huge sort of purchases like this without having fallback. And I'm not defending them. Not at all. I'm just simply stating this. I understand as to why they did it. I just think it's very sucky, considering that even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Hi-Fi Rush. If I did a review on it, I thought it was all right, but I thought it was very repetitive. I still don't feel like that Tango Gameworks deserved to be shut down. Ghostwire Tokyo was all right, wasn't that bad. It wasn't my type of game, but I gave it a go and I enjoyed it for what it was. Evil Within 1 and 2, especially Evil Within 2, was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite survival games of all time, Evil Within 2. and they deserved to be shut down. It's the same with Arcane Austin. If you played Prey, the reboot that came out a couple of years ago, it was incredible. It is hailed as one of the most misunderstood and one of the best games of this generation, of our last generation. But even so, it's one of those sort of games that you can't play it once. You've got to play it multiple times because there's so much detail and it's so clever, that game is. And I never played the DLC for it, Moon Crash, but I was told that was absolutely incredible, and one of the best DLC expansions for any game. And then, obviously, they made Redfall. Granted, I've played Redfall. I played it with Dan from Casting Views in our spare time, and I played it on my own in my spare time. And yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a perfect game. But does one bad game after one incredible game deserve to be shut down? No, I don't think so. And it's the same with Tango Gameworks. Like with Hi-Fi Rush, even though I didn't like it, a lot of people did like it, and it was really, really successful, and it was being ported to the Steam Deck, and it was being ported to PC, and it's getting ported to PlayStation soon. It would have thrived. It would have been so successful, and I don't understand as to why something that's so successful gets shut down. I don't think anybody is. So even though that I understand as to why Xbox did it, because again, they have to recoup their money, because during COVID, it was that big boom of like, let's hire loads of people. And then after COVID ends, it's the fact of, oh God, we've got all these people. We can afford it because again, they're $1 trillion business, but they're still a business at the end of the day. And they had to let all those people go. And that's kind of why, not just Xbox, but that's why we've seen a lot of big publishers and companies like Xbox, like PlayStation, Sony, and Microsoft and that sort of thing. Why we're seeing a lot of them close studios and letting people go, even though it's not a good thing at all. They're doing it is because they hired loads of people, and then they had the issue of paying those people, which they could pay them. They just are cheap, and they've got to sort of play their investors, and that's why. So I just wanted to mention it, the fact of it's put me in a state of worry for Xbox. That was my main point that I bring it up, is the fact of I'm just worried that this is going to be a common thing now with Xbox. I hope not, but it's going to be a worry, the fact of if you're a game studio, if you're a game designer, worrying the fact of, well, can I make that experimental game? Can I make that dream game that probably won't make a lot of money, but it's my passion game? Or should I play it safe and make the games that I know that will make money? And it's one of those, it squashes creativity. And I would imagine that if you're a studio working at Xbox, it's got to be completely terrifying to know that you have no job security, that if you don't make that perfect game straight out the box, and it doesn't do very well, that you could potentially, lose your position or the company goes completely. And it could be the fact of that game could be successful and critically acclaimed and really, really enjoyed, like Hi-Fi Rush, and you still don't know if you actually did good enough. And it's one of those. So my main worry going into this showcase is the fact of whatever we are shown, will it stand the test of time? Will we get another Hi-Fi Rush sort of game that shown to at this showcase? And then it'd be like, okay, new game, fantastic. Year later, it did well, but we're closing down the studio. That is the worry that I have going into the showcase. It's not just me; it's other people in the game industry. It's other podcasters. It's other YouTubers. It's other Xbox fans going into it of worrying the fact of, if I don't support certain games or certain games don't get as much love, or because of Game Pass, that sort of thing, will my favorite studio get closed down? And it is a worry. So I just wanted to mention it because I'll probably never get a chance to mention it again. But yeah, so moving on to my memories of last year. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed last year. A lot of the games that were shown were a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see what they do this year. So a bit of a recap for anybody who doesn't remember. So we got a deeper dive into developers of what developers are doing. So we got to see Avowed taking a deeper dive into Avowed and how it looks. We also got Towerborn. Phil Spencer joins Thunder Lotus for a 33 Immortals gameplay deep dive. You also had Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. We got to see gameplay of that. I have played Phantom Liberty, and if it really just it's hard to put into words how incredible Phantom Liberty is, and how it really just kind of fixes a lot of the issues in terms of story and narrative, and actually bolsters it, and actually just improves the game overall. If you haven't played Cyberpunk, play it now. And if you played Cyberpunk and you haven't played Phantom Liberty, do yourself a favor, give it a go. It's incredible. It really is worth playing. Next is High on Life, which was their horror DLC, High on Knife. Still haven't played it, but I'm quite looking forward to getting around to it eventually. I guess we got to see more about Lies of P. We got to see some gameplay of that. We also got an exclusive look behind the scenes of Microsoft Flight Simulator for the Dune expansion, Senua Saga Hellblade 2. I'm currently playing Senua Saga Sacrifice at the moment to get myself ready. Well, as recording this on the 18th of May, I'm currently playing it, so I'm ready for Senua Saga Hellblade 2 when it comes out on the 21st of May. So I'm looking forward to that one. I really enjoyed the first game so far. Then we got to see a Variant Exosuits and Savage Gauntlet bring more customization and player choice to Exo Primal. Still haven't played Exo Primal. It's on Game Pass, but I've never got around to it. Then we got the first Descendant announces crossplay. There was a mech mashup on Go Mecha Ball coming to PC and Xbox in early 2024. I don't know if that's out yet. We got to see Lamplighters League, which is an alternative 1930s sort of setting sort of game. Lightyear Frontier, which is now on Xbox Game Pass as of now. Phasmophobia, I think was it all of it or one of the games will come into Game Pass. Then the ID Xbox reveals 10 new up and coming games coming to Game Pass. Then we had like coming soon. It's got to see stuff that's coming to Elder Scrolls Online, Necrom. We also had Fallout 76 Once in a Blue Moon trailer. And then Hi-Fi Rush, the arcade challenges came to Hi-Fi Rush. So that's kind of what we got last year, as well as obviously we had the Starfield Direct after that, which was kind of a big developer talk, really just talking about Starfield and what is to come with Starfield. And I quite enjoy Starfield. I don't know if I ever mentioned that on the podcast. I quite enjoyed it. It wasn't what I was hoping it would be, but for what it is, I quite enjoy it. Haven't played it in a long time. I basically got to the end of a faction mission and the mission just broke. No matter how many times I've gone back in old saves and gone to that point and things like that, that mission is just broken for me. So because it broke, I'd never completed it, and I was like, no, I'm not carrying on, and I stopped playing. Maybe I'll come back to it when they release the expansion. Hopefully they release an update that fixes it. If they don't, they don't. But it just annoyed me that I got to this long faction. I think it was the Crimson something. I want to say Crimson Lance, but I think that's from Borderlands. Anyway, I got to that point and I was like, no, I'm not doing it no more, and I gave up. But this year it's the same sort of thing. So we've got the Xbox Game Showcase followed by Blank. So as recording this on the 18th of May, I don't know what that Blank is, or they've released a photo with it, which looks, I've never played Metal Gear Solid really, but it looks like Diamond Dog Division from Metal Gear Solid. Some people are saying it's Call of Duty. I don't know. If you just Google it, it's 3 wolves with 1 wolf's head at the front and then 2 wolf's heads on the left and the right. I don't know if that's going to be Activision or it's going to be Call of Duty. So as of recording this, I don't know what the showcase is going to be with Xbox, but apparently it's going to be on obviously the 9th of June, 6 p.m. BST. Xbox Game Showcase immediately followed by Blank Direct. So we'll see what that Blank Direct is. One thing that bothers me about these sort of follow-up shows is what bothered me last year was the fact of it felt like the Xbox Showcase was shortened, and that a lot of the time and focus was put on to Starfield. And I get it, that was their new flagship sort of game, so they wanted to put as much emphasis on that as possible. It just felt like a lot of potential games that could be talked about or could be shown, or even previous years and other showcases when it was all pure Xbox and they were long form sort of shows showing world exclusives, things like that. It just felt shortened, and I'm worried the fact of whatever this next sort of, let's say, for example, let's call it Call of Duty for argument's sake. Let's say you've got the Xbox Showcase, then we've got the Call of Duty Showcase. The worry for me is the fact of they're going to do a shorter Xbox Showcase and then a really, really long expo of, say, the new Call of Duty. And that what worries me is the fact of not that I don't like Call of Duty. I'm not the biggest fan in the world of it, but I would rather have the huge showcase of all the Xbox games and all the other games that are coming to Xbox and Game Pass and all that jazz, and then have a small slice bonus on the end of like, this is what we're coming next. Specifically, let's spotlight this new Call of Duty game. And I wouldn't mind that, because I'd be like, I've had my fill of my main, of my starter and my main from Xbox. Now I'm ready for my pudding of Call of Duty. But where last year it just felt like I had the starter, I missed out on the main completely, and then it went straight to the pudding of Starfield, and I felt a bit hungry. I felt I wanted more. There wasn't enough. So I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, this year that you get the starter and the main from Xbox, and then you get sort of the dessert side of whatever this new Direct is going to be. That is my hope. Anyway, as for what I'm hoping to see this year, to be honest, I want a new Halo. I haven't played Halo Infinite yet, but I'd like to see a new Halo. But for me, and again, I'm sure it would have been announced by now if this was the case, I'm of the sort of thinking that 343 should be have the Halo franchise taken away from them and given to somebody else. When I did in season 1, when I did my huge breakdown of the Halo franchise, I mentioned that through my research and looking into the Bungie era of Halo, they were moving away from Spartans and specifically Master Chief, and they were looking at other stories or other Spartans, like the Lone Survivor from Halo 3 ODST, or you have Halo Reach with Noble Team, and yes, they were Spartans, but it was away from John, it was away from actual Halo, really. Even though it was Halo, it wasn't. It was to do with Master Chief, but it was away from it. It was separate. And I feel like I would love to see another studio take on the Halo mantle, to do other things in the Halo universe, to go other places, to get away from the Spartan armor and go maybe ODST again, ODST 2, Halo Forever 5, whatever they want to call it, or just Halo, or just call it ODST. I'd love that sort of thing, So my hope is just something new from Halo that's not 343. I probably would have been announced by now if that was the case, but I'd like to see that. I'd love to see a new Gears of War game. I've loved Gears of War. I've played them all. I'm currently reading Gears of War Anvil Gate, which is one of the sort of prequel novels set between Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3. I'm a huge fan. I've played them all. I've only ever played the Gears of War 5 like once, mainly because there's a really awkward, unfair boss in the very beginning of the game, almost at the very beginning of the game, where you're basically in a small condensed area trying to fight a berserker, and it's an absolute nightmare. So I've only ever completed that game once, but still, I'm a huge Gears of War fan, and I'd love to see Gears 6 or Gears of War 6, or whatever they call it. Or I'd be happy with a remaster. They already remastered the first game. All they got to do now is Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3, and even possibly Judgment. I'd be happy with Judgment. I'm one of the few people that actually quite enjoy Judgment, to be honest. And all they really have to do, or even if they don't just do them separately, they go, we've remastered the whole Gears of War trilogy. So we've taken the remaster from Gears of War 1, we've upscaled it so it runs even better on the Xbox Series X, as well as you getting a remaster of Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 all on one disc or one download or whatever, and it's coming to Game Pass today or something like that, or coming to Xbox later this year. I would be really happy with that. Even if they never announce Gears 6, it'll be the fact of we've remastered them. So I'd love to go back and play the old Gears games again. That would be a lot of fun. I'd also like to see more backwards compatibility stuff. I know that they said they're done with backwards compatibility. They still support it, but they're done bringing games to that sort of program. That was before that they bought Activision. Now, I was hoping that when they bought Activision, that as soon as they bought it, they would start adding in back catalog Xbox 360 games and Xbox original games into the backwards compatible sort of catalog. They didn't. They did say they would do it, but they just wanted to get everything finalized. I think enough time has passed now, enough finalization has done, where I'm hoping that at this showcase, they go, right, coming to Game Pass, coming to backwards compatibility today for all Xbox players, all the original Transformers games, trying to think of what else, all of the old Xbox 360 games that we could license from Activision are all being put onto the system. If you've got Game Pass, or if you haven't, or if you own the game already on digital back on your 360, you can own it again. And this is what I'd love to see, just the fact of that sort of keeping to the promise of like we care about game conservability, that we're making sure that games last the test of time, and that we're bringing back those old games. You can replay them, relive them, or if you miss out on them first time round, you can now go and buy them. Or even it'd be lovely to get Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which I know because it's Marvel, like maybe we might not get it, but it was under the Activision umbrella. I still actually own, and I've just pulled off the shelf Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. I still have the first game from the Xbox 360 in my hand, and I never played Ultimate Alliance 2. But I would love to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 and all the other Marvel games, and Crash Bandicoot. It'd be cool to have all the Crash Bandicoot games on the Xbox and even Game Pass and things like that. So it'd be nice to have that backwards compatibility come back in. So those are my main hopes of, like, I want something new from Halo. I want something to do with Gears of War, and I would love to see more from backwards compatibility. Will we? I don't know, but my fingers are crossed. So I've just realized I've been talking for about 21 minutes now. So I'm going to pump the brakes, take a breather, and through the wizardry of podcasting and editing, I'm going to have to wait a couple of weeks before I get to watch the showcase. But you lucky beans are going to hear my thoughts and feelings of the showcase right about now.
Hi, this is Dan from Casting Views, and you're listening to another great episode from Luke over at the Nerdstalgic podcast. Let's get back to the show.
Right, okay, sweet Jesus, wow. So Xbox One so far, like Jeff Keighley's show, it was all right. It was a C. It was okay, but it was all right. Xbox, I knew they would do it again. They won. I know we haven't seen what Ubisoft has to show. Yeah, that comes tomorrow, but in my book so far, Xbox has won. One huge, complete, and utter W, right? A plus, A star, whatever it is in your country, it is the best of the best, right? I don't know how to put into words this. I've never cried at a showcase before in my life. I've been excited, I've been depressed, I have been happy and sad and all of the above, but I've never got emotional. I've never cried at a showcase in my life, right? But the last game they showed, and we'll get to it, got me so emotional that I completely missed majority of the Call of Duty Direct. So I'm going to be very vague when it comes to that part, but when we get to that last game that they showed, it will all make sense if you know me at all. But before we get onto there, this sort of review is going to go exactly the same as I do with the Jeff Keighley show. I'm going to list off what was shown. I'm going to talk about some things more. I'll have some more things to talk about, other things than others. So, yeah, let's just get into it. Without further ado, to start off the show, we had a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 cinematic and gameplay trailer. We also got a release date coming for October 25th this year. I'll talk more about Call of Duty when we get to the Direct. Then we got Doom, The Dark Ages. This is coming in 2025, day one on Game Pass. I am so excited for the new Doom. I think it was leaked potentially last year when we had the Activision Blizzard debacle going on where, Xbox trying to get the rights and PlayStation was like, no. That it was released that the new Doom was going to be called Doom Year One, which I think was like a pretty good name as well. So we already knew this was coming. It was kind of ruined last year. But that being said, still, we get to finally see it. It's Doom Year One, the very, very beginning, when he was a vessel for the gods and he was the Doom Slayer and he would take on the beasts of hell, basically. And I like that. We got to see all new gameplay. We got to see the sort of Doom guy with all new weapons. He has this shield with blades around it that you can throw out like Captain America, and it chops demons in half and things like that. So I'm really, really excited. I'm looking forward to it. I played Doom Eternal. I never played the DLC, mainly because one, I never got round to it, and then when I did was going to get time to get round to it, I saw the reviews come out for the DLC, and everybody was like, "Yeah, this is hard. This is not easy at all. This is like hardcore," and it little bit put me off. I won't lie. Maybe one day I'll be brave enough to go back and play it. But I'm really, really excited for Doom, the Dark Ages. I can't wait to get my hands on it next year. Like, fair enough, it's coming next year. I can wait a year. I don't mind. But I'm glad that we're getting more Doom. I really am. I love the Doom franchise. So I'm excited to see more from it. Then we got a trailer for State of Decay 3. This is coming out day one on Game Pass. We didn't get a release date. To be honest, we have been... This game has kind of been in limbo for a while. I know it was released, well, not released, but announced a while ago, maybe 2-3 years ago. This was announced with a cinematic trailer, and we haven't seen or heard anything since. I've heard on the grapevine that this has been in a sort of rocky development. I don't know if that's true or not, because again, I'm not a developer, I'm not part of the team. It's just what I've heard on the grapevine. So it's nice to see that this game is finally coming out. Again, we didn't get a release date, but we got to see a little bit of, I think, potentially gameplay in the trailer. Well, it seemed like gameplay, because again, it's hard to tell nowadays how good games look nowadays and how sort of seamless most video game companies now put the cinematics into gameplay and how seamless that is. Sometimes it's really hard to tell of what is playable and what isn't, So it looks good. It looks great. I'll be honest with you. I haven't played State of Decay really since State of Decay 1. I haven't played State of Decay 2, but I know there's a huge following for this series. A lot of people love it. It's widely enjoyed by a lot of people, and Undead Labs, who make it, are a studio that are very passionate about what they make and what they create, and it shows that they are this kind of studio that will constantly keep updating their games and keep working on them and keep bringing new content to their games. And I know State of Decay 2 got so many updates and so many sort of ease of life updates and things like that. So they are obviously a very passionate group of developers. So it makes sense why it took them so long, that they wanted to get it right and that they want to make sure that it's the best experience for people. So even though I haven't played State of Decay 3, I'll be interested to see what I haven't played State of Decay 2. I'd be interested to see what State of Decay 3 is like. So that is coming eventually sometime soon. I would imagine there's a potentiality that it would come out next year, but that's just a guess. It could come 2026. We don't know. Then we got, I got really, really excited for, we got a trailer for Dragon Age, The Veilguard. I am really pumped for this. I love Dragon Age. It's up there with my love of Mass Effect. I've played all of the Dragon Age games. I have all the books, which I still haven't read yet. I've had the books for ages and I feel bad for not reading them, but I will get around to them eventually. I recently played through Mass Effect 1 again, and as I played through that, I kept getting the sense and feeling that I want to play Dragon Age again. And then we had the announcement a couple of days ago that this was going to be shown at the showcase, and then we finally get to see a new trailer and the way it looks and a little bit of not gameplay but a little bit of in-engine footage, and I'm just ready. I'm pumped. I'm ready to continue the story of the Dreadwolf. Ready to go to this new part of the world and to fight this new threat or whatever, if it's going to be the Dreadwolf or is it going to be something else then leads to the Dreadwolf. We will see, but it just gets me pumped, and it makes me want to go back and play all the Dragon Age games, to be honest. BioWare is a studio that means a lot to me, and that just even though that some of their games have not been great. Anthem, I loved it, I played it, but it wasn't their best work. Mass Effect Andromeda, I loved it. I absolutely adore that game, but a lot of people didn't. And hopefully, with this game and then the new Mass Effect, they're going back to formula, really. And they're going back to the beginning, to what made them unique and what made them BioWare. So that's my hope, is that whatever Dragon Age, the Veilguard is or does or tries to be, that it goes back to formula. It goes back to the original source of what makes BioWare and Dragon Age themselves, really. and just carries on that trend. But I guess we'll find out more if EA does a direct showcase, which more likely they tend to do at the end of summer. So if EA does another one this year, we might see some more there. But it says it's coming fall of 2024. So there's potentiality anytime during the winter, anytime during like Christmas or October, November. I'm thinking November. I don't know why, just in my head, it just says November. Whenever I think of Dragon Age, I just think colder months, October, November. So I'm going to stick with November. Let's say November 2024. We don't know, it says coming, but that's my prediction. This will come out in November, but we'll see. Then we got a Starfield Shattered Space story expansion trailer. I've spoke about my feelings on Starfield before. And for anybody that doesn't know, sort of the long and short of it is I played it, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I completed the campaign and I was going through the factions and I've got to the last faction. I think it was the Crimson something. And I got to that and the mission bugged out on me before I could get to the very, very end. So I couldn't complete it and nothing I would do would fix it, even going back to old saves. And eventually I was like, I can't be bothered, and I moved on. And I haven't gone back since, to be honest, which is a shame because I enjoyed what Starfield was. That being said, they are updating it every month, and the story expansion does look interesting. And I won't lie, it has sort of piqued my interest. So I'll wait for the expansion to come out. I'll wait to see the reviews. If they are favourable, I might spend the money and get the expansion and pay the expansion. Hopefully by then, they would have fixed the sort of bug that affected me, so I can go back and complete that mission. If not, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? But one other thing that they announced, also that Shattered Space expansion is coming 2024. They didn't give an exact date, but it's coming this year. But they also announced coming tonight, a new content update coming tonight. So if you're a Starfield fan, you listen to this, you've got a new update coming tonight to the game of all new things. And I think new locations, new planets, and I think it was new story, side quest things. I think that's what it said. So by all means, if you're a Starfield fan, go check it out tonight. There'll be a new update and great. But I'm going to wait until the expansion, see what the expansion's like, see what people think about it. Then I will jump into Starfield. But till then, I'm going to hold back of my Starfield fun, and I'm just going to wait and see. I'm going to bide my time, as they say. Then the next one that they talked about was Fallout 76 Skyline Valley map expansion trailer. This is coming June the 12th, 2024. Also, they announced that as of next year, 2025, you'll be able to play as a ghoul. Now, before we get into that last bit, which was really fun, Fallout 76, let's all be honest, we all took the piss out of it. We dogged on that game and we were unfair. Well, to us at the time, we were very fair in what we were saying, and it needed to be taken the piss out of, and sort of Bethesda needed to know how much they screwed up. Not in a mean way. They just needed to know that certain things needed to change. And fair play to Bethesda, they did. They made changes, they put in NPCs, they put new missions in, they put all new updates, they did expeditions, they did all the things that Fallout 76 should have been at launch. And I'll admit, I was one of the people that the naysayers that took the mick out of it. I eventually, in one of my most successful episodes of my first season of the podcast, I actually went back and I played Fallout 76. It was my adventures through Appalachia. And I'll be honest with you, I absolutely loved it and enjoyed it. So much so, I still play it now regularly. Not all the time. I don't log in every day, but every now and then I'll boot up 76 and I will play 76 now. And I quest on my own. I do the expeditions and stuff like that. It's my Fallout kick, and I love it and enjoy it. And I'm excited for this new map expansion because it just means the map that we already have, Appalachia, is getting bigger. New missions, new locations, new stuff to do, which I love. And then they announced that as of next year, you'll be able to play as a ghoul in 76, which is fantastic because we've all been asking that for years. I've been asking for it since Fallout 3 because we all know somebody. We all know somebody who was told by somebody else that and this was for any Fallout, right? I was told this for Fallout 3, for Fallout New Vegas, and for Fallout 4. I was told this by the same person every time, and I believed them. To be honest, I shouldn't have believed them, but I did. But we all had that one person that said, oh, if when you play Fallout, if you irradiate yourself and you wait a while, but without killing yourself, if you give yourself high radiation, you will eventually turn into a ghoul. I always tried it. It never worked. No matter how I tried it in Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4, it never worked, right? Maybe it does work, and I was never doing it properly. But as far as I knew, there was no way of being a ghoul, because who didn't want to turn themselves into a ghoul? You know, we all wanted to do it. We all tried it. I tried it with every single Fallout because I was told, oh, now you can do it. They've added it in an update, blah, blah, blah. And me being young and dumb, tried it. It never worked. So now we actually being officially able to play as a ghoul, yes, it comes out next year, but then now given that option is pretty wonderful. Not just in the fact of what Fallout 76 is, where you can kind of do your own story, do your own adventure, but also the side of it of like, this is what we've always been asking for. We've always been asking to play as the ghoul. And also because the Fallout TV show on Amazon, everybody loves the ghoul. Everybody loves Walter Goggins as the ghoul, and I think it just showed Bethesda that everybody loves the ghoul character. People want to people cosplay as ghouls. People want to be ghouls. People want their vault dwellers to be like ghouls and stuff like that. So to finally give us that option is absolutely wonderful, and I'm glad that Fallout 76 is now growing and being a lot more successful, and tons of people are now playing it and enjoying it and seeing it for what it is. Granted, it had a rocky start, but if you played it now, if you look at it now from what it was, Fallout 76 now is what it should have been at launch. It's finally gotten there, and it's finally getting the appreciation it deserves. And my biggest recommendation is, don't listen to what people said in the past about 76. It's a completely different game now. It's completely better. It's changed. It's a lot more fun. And I recommend it a lot more now than I did when I last played it. That is my 2 pence on it, and we're not going to go any further because this is not a 76 review. But yeah, definitely give Fallout 76 a go now to get yourself ready for the map expansion coming soon, actually, on June the 12th. So definitely jump on as soon as possible. Then we had the next game, Expedition 33 trailer and gameplay. This is coming 2025, day one on Game Pass. Then we got a gameplay trailer for South of Midnight. This is coming in 2025. Again, this is day one on Game Pass. We got a trailer for this last year, if I remember correctly. This is made by Compulsion Games, and the gameplay looks really, really good. It looks interesting. You're in the bayou, or rolling down the bayou. That's all I could think of from Princess and the Frog from Disney. every time that it was just like a wide shot of the swamps, I was thinking rolling down the bayou. But I'm really excited for this one because it looks good. It looks interesting. The combat looks great. The visuals are quirky and different. They look gorgeous, but they're in a stylized sort of visuals that I really, really like. So I'm excited to see more from this game. Shame it comes out next year, but again, and to be honest, this might be a running thing from me. But despite it coming next year in 2025, I actually don't mind, because there are a lot of good games coming out this year and a lot of things announced for this year that I don't mind waiting. And some of these games I'm happy to let cook, like this game. Of like, it looks fantastic already, but if you want another year to get it better, I can't wait to see what it looks like next year. So I don't mind. Let the people cook. Let Compulsion's games cook, and we'll see what that game is going to be next year in 2025. Then I got a bit excited here. And then I was excited, then I was let down. But at the same stage, I was let down because I was hoping for something that couldn't happen, because I don't think it could happen, because I don't think the Xbox is powerful enough to do it. But World of Warcraft, The War Within story expansion was announced, and when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, are they bringing World of Warcraft to the console? Is that something they can do? Like, is the console powerful enough?" And then at the end of it, it went coming August 26, 2024. And then at the very end, it said to PC. And I was like, fair enough. Because I don't know, could you put World of Warcraft on Xbox? Is the Xbox powerful enough to run it? Do you, can it do that, or how would it work? I don't know. So I kind of got a little bit excited that we would potentially see World of Warcraft on the Xbox, but no, it was just a sort of trailer for a new story expansion coming to PC in August 26th this year. So I got a bit happy, but it is what it is. It's fine. You can keep Warcraft on PC. I'm fine. It doesn't bother me that much. Then we got a trailer for Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater gameplay trailer. I'm not really that interested in Metal Gear. I've tried it in the past. It's not something that really appeals to me. I like the idea of it. I love Kojima. I think he's absolutely a visionary. I think he's fantastic. I'm just not interested in Metal Gear Solid. But this still looks fun. And if it comes to Game Pass, or if it goes on sale, maybe I'll check it out. But really, it's not for me. But it looks gorgeous. It looks fun. It looks stealthy. It looks it looks like every other Metal Gear game, really. I don't really know much to say about it, but it looks good. It's just not one for me. Then we had a update for Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves Season 13 update trailer coming July the 25th. I'm glad Sea of Thieves are still going. I really, really am. And I'm surprised it's still going with 13 seasons so far, or what will be 13 seasons very soon. I'm glad it's still going. I'm glad they're still updating it. I'm glad people are still playing it. I love pirate games. Sea of Thieves is the game I try to play. And you can play it on your own. You can do it on your own. I know of some people that do. But it wasn't for me. I've said this multiple times before. I have no friends. Well, on Xbox anyway. And the friends I do have on Xbox, they have lives. And a lot of them are like me, where they just play single player games. So I have no one to play it with, and I feel like this is a game that you play with other people. And if you don't have anybody else to play with, it still can be fun, but it's not as fun. You want a whole crew of people. So it's kind of like what I was saying with the Jeff Keighley show. Is that I'm glad and I'm excited that Sea of Thieves is still going and it's still popular and people are still playing it. I love that and I'm glad. But it's hard to get excited over something that you won't play. But I'm just glad it's still going. So if any Sea of Thieves fans out there, Season 13 coming July the 25th. Fair play to you all. Hopefully it's a good one. Enjoy it. Wonderful. Next one is Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, which is a fantastic name for a video game, if I do say so myself. So we've got a gameplay trailer for this. This is a roguelike sort of game. It coming in July the 18th, 2024. So very, very soon, coming day one to Game Pass. Then we had Age of Mythology retold gameplay. Age of Mythology retold gameplay trailer. Sorry. This is coming on the September the 4th, 2024. Coming to Game Pass day one. Then we got a complete surprise. One that I did not expect to see here at all because of, again, kind of like State of Decay. I've heard a lot on the grapevine that this game isn't doing very well and that a lot of people have left the project and there's confusion and there's like a very big sort of discourse of where the product needs to go and what we want to do with it and all that jazz. You hear all of these things from other YouTubers and on Reddit and things like that. I always take them with a grain of salt because, again, I'm not a developer. I'm not there on the team. I don't know what's going on. So I was a bit surprised when they announced that a Perfect Dark gameplay trailer. Didn't give us a release date, which I would be surprised if they did. But it looks good. To be honest, it looked like a tech demo. It looked more of a tech demo of like, this is kind of like what we want the game to look like. This is how we want the game to run. This is potentially what we want the game to be. But we're still sort of working that out. That's how it felt to me. Again, I don't know. I'm not a developer in the project, so I don't know. But it looked like a tech demo. But for what the tech demo was, if that's what we're going to call it, it works and it looks interesting. And it looks like it could be good. But again, we won't know until we'll have to wait until maybe next year till we find out more. I would guess this one's probably going to be next year, maybe 2026, really, if I have to give it a guess. But I'm glad that we saw it here. I'm glad that they showed a bit more Perfect Dark here, because it's been a long time since we've seen anything from Perfect Dark. Like the last one was like Xbox 360. That came out with the console, so it was a very, very long time ago. It's been a long time since we heard anything from the initiative, the studio that was making the Perfect Dark game as well. And again, we heard about the turmoil and things like that with them. So it's nice to see something from them, even if it's a proof of concept, even if it's like, this is what we want it to look like, but it won't look like this in the final design, whatever, we don't know. But it was nice to see it, and it was a huge surprise. Then we had Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred story update. This is coming October the 8th, 2024. To be honest, I'm not really interested in Diablo. I wanted to be interested in Diablo. I played a bit of Diablo 3 and I absolutely loved and enjoyed that one on the 360. And then when they announced Diablo 4, I was excited. I was interested. I was, yeah. Then it came out and I heard that it was crap. And then I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to wait because I know it's going to come to Game Pass. And it eventually did come to Game Pass. And I thought, when it comes to Game Pass, I will give it a go. Comes on Game Pass, I download it. Before I can play it, I have to sign up to, I think it's like Battle.net or something like that. Basically, I have to sign up for something to play it. And this was the same reason why I never played Exo Primal, because I shouldn't have to, like, if I bought this game and then I took it home and then I put it into my console and then it goes, oh, well, you bought this thing, now you need to sign up for this extra thing. I'm like, no. And I uninstalled it. As soon as it said that you have to sign up, there's no way around it, you have to sign up, you can't play the game without it, I jumped ship. I was like, I'm not playing it. I'm not signing up for something that I'm just going to try out and test. I'm not that interested. I'm not invested. And maybe, again, if you are a Diablo fan, it might not bother you. But for me, I was like, no, I don't want to have to sign up to play something. I've already spent the money, or, even though I didn't because it's Game Pass, but you have to think in terms of a consumer. You've already spent the money. You shouldn't have to then sort of prove that you are trustworthy or whatever, especially if you played it single player, you played on your own. I think it was the Battle.net or something stupid like that. But in the end, I was like, you know what? I saw it. I was like, no, I'm not signing up, and I installed it. So ever since then, it's kind of soured me on Diablo. So I'm glad people play it, and I'm fair play. It's still going, and people still like it, but it's not for me. I'm not interested anymore. I just don't think you should have to sign up to play games. I think if you buy a game or Game Pass or whatever, if you have access to it, you should have access to it. You shouldn't have to then go off and do something else. But I don't want to rant. I'll go into a rant otherwise. But yeah, that's a new story expansion coming. Then we had the Fable gameplay and story trailer. This is coming in 2025, Game Pass Day 1. I'm glad that we saw more Fable. Shame we didn't get a proper release date. I was really hoping that Fable was going to come out this year because it looked so good last year. And then this trailer looked really good as well. So I was hoping at the end of it they go, Christmas, sort of winter time 2024, but no, 2025. So again, we have to wait another year. But again, let them cook. Let Playground cook. Playground, they make the Forza Horizon games. They make racing games. And I don't say that to sort of dissuade anybody or to kind of take the piss out of the studio, not at all. I say it in the fact of they make racing games. They've never made a game like this before, right? So obviously they want to do a good job and they want to make sure that the game is as good as it possibly can be. So I'm happy for them to take as much time as they need to let them cook, to let the game to be ready when it's ready. Don't rush it. Don't sort of push it out because you have to just take as much time as you need. And then when you're ready, release it, and that's how I see it. So I'm happy to wait for Fable. Yes, I was hoping that it would come out this year, but it is what it is. Comes out next year, and I'm fine with that. And again, it's day 1 on Game Pass, so I'll be excited for it next year. More than likely, if I had to put a guess to it, possibly summer. I wouldn't see this at the beginning of the year. I would see this as, if it doesn't come out in June, like around the beginning or sort of around the beginning of June or May, it'll probably be at the next Xbox showcase, and then they'll probably give you a day of like August. So I could probably see this as an August release, but we will see. Then we had another gameplay trailer for Fragpunk, which is a hero arena shooter, which kind of put me off. I was like, I don't really like arena shooters. But one thing that made this one a bit interesting was that each player has cards, and each card does a different thing. Kind of like, think of Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, that sort of thing. Each card has a specific thing, and that whatever card they choose, they crush it in the hand, and then that card affects the world. So there was a card that one character crushed, and it made plants and shrubbery grow around her in the area, and that then she then hid out in this long, tall grass. Don't go into the long grass. Sorry, I just had that image in my head from that scene in my mind from Jurassic Park 2, Lost World. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so she crushed this card in her hand, and then grass sort of came up, and then how you get all this grass? Another character's walked past, and she's come up and she's silently killed them. Which again, really, really cool, really interesting. Am I going to play it? Is it a game I'm going to be interested in? Most likely not, because it's an arena shooter, but I think it's unique. And putting my sort of feelings aside for a second, when it comes to hero shooters, there are so many out there now. It's really hard to differentiate which one you should play and which one you should put your time into, really. When they all feel and play the same, what one should you play? Because they're all the same. So having a hero shooter that's a bit different, that plays a bit different, that looks a bit different, has a different idea and concept, could be interesting. So it might not be one for me or one that I'll happily jump on to, but I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm interested to see what legs does it have. Is it going to be better than all X Defiant and all the other sort of new hero shooters that are coming out? Or, will it come and go like all the rest of them? We will see. But, who knows? That's coming in 2025, so they've got time to cook and they've got time to refine their gameplay and how it all plays and looks. So that will happen then. Then we had Winterborough, which I got really excited for this at first because I thought it was Mouse Guard. To be honest, I ain't going to go into it in huge detail, but for anybody who is in the know, there is a graphic novel sort of book series called Mouse Guard about these mice that are knights. It's absolutely fantastic, and I don't want to go into huge detail because I'd be here all day. But I'm a big fan of Mouse Guard, and the art style of this reminded me of Mouse Guard. I'm really excited. Oh, they're making a Mouse Guard game. Oh my god! No, Mouses yes, Mouse Guard no. This is Winterborough. It looks kind of like a story, sort of top-down, sort of resource sort of game where you have to sort of kind of. You have this house, this little stump, and you, as a mouse, you go around and you collect bits of wood and sort of things you can craft to make weapons and things to look after yourself, as well as you farming mushrooms and things like that to eat, and that you can chop down plants and that to make clothes and make your survival in the winter a lot easier and things like that. So it looks interesting. It's coming day one to Game Pass, and definitely be one that I'd be interested in checking out. Again, coming in 2025. This one I'm happy to let them cook because it reminds me of Mouse Guard. It might not be the same sort of game, same style, but I like little mice trying to survive and things like that. So I'm excited for whatever this game is. And again, I'm happy to let them cook and let it come out next year. Then we had Mixtape. That again is coming in 2025. Again, Game Pass day one. This one, I'm not sure how to feel about this one. It seemed interesting. It seems cool. Majority of the games here are you probably find me saying it a lot, but a lot of them stuff that is announced here all seems very interesting. But the Mixtape, I don't know how to feel about it. It's set during the 80s, I think. It reminds me a bit of Stand By Me, the idea of being young and staying young for as long as possible and enjoying the moment of the now, really, of the time that you're in, and enjoy it, because next year or the year after, things are going to change, you're going to grow up, and life is going to sort of take you by the hand and not let you go, really. And it all seems to kind of go to the fact of 80s soundtrack and 80s rhythm and moods and groove and all that jazz. So I'm excited to see whatever it is. But yeah, coming in 2025, day one Game Pass. Then we had Elder Scrolls, sorry, that came after. But before then, we had Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. This is coming November 19th, 2024. Game Pass day one. We saw a bit of this last year. We saw a little bit more of this today. I kind of got a little bit excited because Asbo Studios are the people that make this, but they also make A Plague Tale Requiem. So when I saw the title first, I thought, oh, we're getting another Plague Tale, or they're making another sort of game in that vein or something like that. But no, then I remembered, no, they do Flight Simulator as well. So I got a little bit deflated. But it wasn't overly sort of negative. I'm just not a big flight simulator fan. My brother plays it. I used to play it when I was younger. I think I've told this story last year, but my dad had Flight Simulator XP for Windows XP, and he had a flight stick, and I used to play with the flight stick on there. But ever since then, I've never really played it since. Really, I know you can play Flight Simulator on the Xbox Series X, but again, I've never got around to it. But I don't know, it just wouldn't feel right to me doing a flight sim, like a proper flight sim, with a controller. I'd feel like I'd want the flight stick, I'd want the gears, I'd want the thrusters and everything. But that's a big investment. But again, like I said, I'm glad that this is still going. I'm glad that this is something that is still being supported, and people are still playing Simulator 23. People are still playing the older Simulator games, and there is a fan base there. I just wish I was more interested in them than I was when I was younger. But still, Flight Simulator 2024 coming November 19th. Who knows? It might be good. It most definitely will be good, to be honest. I don't know what I'm being really. Maybe I'm just being picky because I'm no longer a fan as much as I used to be. But yeah, it looks cool. Coming to Game Pass day one. Then we had Elder Scrolls Online. This was their 10-year celebration trailer, as well as announcing the Golden Road expansion. It's all coming June the 18th in 2024 this year. So very, very soon. Again, Elder Scrolls Online. I don't really have the time in my life anymore to play these always online games. I did when it came out. I had the Tamriel Unlimited edition. I had the time when I was younger, back in 2014, when this came out 10 years ago, when I just left school. But then college hit, then uni, then COVID, and had other things to deal with at the time. And then I had life and a job, and currently have a job now still. So it's like, oh, I just don't have the time for these always online games anymore. It's like this and Destiny and the Division to an extent. I just don't have the time to play them anymore. So again, like Flight Simulator, like the other things I've mentioned, I'm glad it's still going. I'm glad people are still playing it, but it's hard to be excited for something that you no longer experience. But I'm excited for everybody else. I'm just not excited for me. But yeah, so a new update coming for that. I'm glad it's still going for 10 years, and it more than likely will go for another 10 years, to be honest. Or maybe it will go until the new Elder Scrolls comes out, and then everybody goes, oh, new Elder Scrolls come out, that's it. Everybody stops playing, and they go to the new Elder Scrolls game. Who knows? But here's for another 10 years, eh? Then we had Life is Strange Double Exposure. We had a trailer for that. It's coming October 29th, 2024. Again, Life is Strange. I played the first Life is Strange. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was interested in the characters. And then I remember I was at a game convention and I played the beginning of Life is Strange 2. Never got around to actually playing the full game, but I enjoyed what I played. I think there was another Life is Strange, Captain Wonderful or Amazing, which was like a free expansion. I played that. I liked that. I remember there was a free one, or maybe it was something different, or in the same sort of vein of Life is Strange. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's a free one on the Xbox that I played. I only really played it for the gamer score, to be honest, because you could get 1,000 gamer score in it just by playing the story. Can't remember what that one was called, but this one looks cool. I like the Life is Strange franchise. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm interested in them. So I'm interested to see what this new game will be like. I won't lie, I probably won't jump on it day one, but if it ever comes to Game Pass or if it ever goes on sale, it would most likely be a one I would jump on. We'll see. Then we got a sort of further story expansion sort of trailer to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. We got to see a lot more story in this, and it actually looks a lot better. Again, no specific release date. All we know is it's coming in 2024. Game Pass day one. I love Indiana Jones. I am planning to hopefully cover the movies and the Indiana Jones game that came out on the original Xbox. Hopefully sometime in the future, before this game comes out. I absolutely love and adore Indiana Jones. My biggest gripe, because it looks fantastic. This little bit of gameplay when there's in Himalayas and there's in somehow this Nazi warship had made its way at the top of the Himalayas. Who knows how? We'll find out. If not, it don't need to. It's a fantastic visual. And and my mind just goes crazy. I love, again, that it was all fantastic, and Machine Games as well. They know how to do these sort of games, and it had Machine Games sort of sense of humor at times as well. There was a moment where you had the one general going choo 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 choo, and I giggled. I won't lie. All that was great. The only gripe that I have with this game, and I hope that when this game comes out, that enough people play it and support it, because if enough people play and support it, it's something that will potentially happen. And what I mean by that is the fact of, I don't like the first person perspective of Indiana Jones. It just doesn't feel right to me. I get why they're doing it, because Todd Howard's like, he wants you to feel like Indy. He wants you to be Indiana Jones, and I get that. But I still, for me personally, feel like I could still feel like Indiana Jones in third person. I still feel like Lara Croft in third person. I still feel like Nathan Drake in third person. Those games work in third person. I hope that, and again, don't get me wrong, I'll still play this game day one. Don't get me wrong, I will still play it because I love Indiana Jones. I'm just hoping that this game does well enough, and that there's a fan base there where eventually they do an update where it's like, play through the campaign again, now in third person. And if that happened, I would happily play through the game again in third person, because I just feel like it would look better and feel better. And it might even be a completely different experience. I don't know yet. I haven't played the game. But yeah, I that's my only gripe at the moment with this, is the fact of it all looks fantastic. All looks gorgeous. I'm incredibly excited to see whatever this adventure is and where we go on it with Indy. But I'm just sort of a stickler for that third person view. It just doesn't work for me. Every time I see the trailers, I look at the cinematics, I'm like, oh my god, that's gorgeous, and then it goes to first person combat and I'm like, no. And that is my only gripe with it at the moment, is just the fact of, I see that and I'm like, no, I want you to change that. But yeah, hopefully if it's successful, they might do, they might not do, they might keep it third person, who knows. But yeah, that's coming sometime this year. Again, I would imagine potentially August, closer to the end of the year. Again, Game Pass day one, so I'll be there, I'll play it. And hopefully if I've done all the other Indiana Jones stuff that I'm planning, there you go, this is a bit of a thing for you, but as long as I've done all that, by then, hopefully I'll be ready to play the game. We will see. I've got other things in the pipeline to go before then, but we will get on it soon, I promise. Then we had Mecha Break gameplay trailer. At first, I thought this was Gundam, and then I thought, oh no, it might be Transformers. But no, this is a new game, Mecha Break gameplay trailer. It looks interesting, looks fun. This is coming 2025. Then we have Wu Chang Fallen Feathers gameplay trailer. This is coming in 2025, Game Pass day one. Don't really have much to say about either of them things. So if you're a fan of them, I do apologize. I just don't really have a lot to say. Then we got some more Avowed gameplay footage. This is coming in 2024. Again, we don't know when, but it's coming this year. Again, I would imagine potentially end of summer, beginning of winter. We will see. Then we got a new game from Rebellion. To be honest, I made a joke to myself because nobody else was here. I made a joke to myself when I saw the name Rebellion. I went, oh, look, new Sniper Elite. Because it looked like Sniper Elite, but it wasn't, and it isn't. I shouldn't be rude to Rebellion, because I love Rebellion. I love what they do. I'm glad that they still do what they do. That, you know, they're a huge company and they have huge success, but they still make small games. Like, their games are huge in scale, but they're quite small. They're still like AA, really. But they just make some great games. So I shouldn't make fun of them, because I've met a few of them sometimes when I've gone to conventions and stuff like that. I've met with the teams and I've told them how much I love their games, and I do enjoy Sniper Elite. It just was like, when it came, I was like, oh, look, new Sniper Elite, and I'm like, no, it isn't something new. But this new game, Atomfall, we got a gameplay trailer. It's coming 2025. It looks interesting. It looks wacky and weird, and it looks very much in their vein of games. So I'm excited. To be honest, I was kind of hoping for a Strange Brigade 2. But we will see. You know, that it may be a game that be on the cards. I don't know if the game was successful or not to make a sequel, but I really enjoyed Strange Brigade and I would love a sequel to that. But who knows? With Atomfall, if that's successful, they might get some funding to make it. we'll see. Then we got Assassin's Creed Shadow gameplay. This is coming again November the 15th, 2024. We'll more than likely will see more from Assassin's Creed Shadow tomorrow at the Ubisoft event. But to see a little bit of it here now, I like the gameplay. It looks good. It looks beautiful. Again, like I said, I haven't played Assassin's Creed Mirage, so I can't really. The only thing I can really compare it to is Valhalla, and I really enjoyed Valhalla. I thought that game was wonderful, and I'm one of the few people that was like, you know what, I know how long this game is, but I'm invested in the story, and I went. It was a long campaign, probably the longest Assassin's Creed campaigns ever, but I just devoured that whole game, and I loved and enjoyed it, and all the expansions and free updates that they did for it. And yeah, that's my only real sort of reference point, because I haven't played Mirage. I don't know if it looks the same, or if in terms of graphics or gameplay or whatever. So I don't really know, but it looks good. We will see more tomorrow at the Ubisoft event. So until then, we're going to have to leave it. But for now, for what I saw, I liked. Then we got a trailer for a game that I'm glad is coming out. And I'll get onto that bit in a minute. But when I first saw it, my heart sank. Not sank, but my heart dropped because I thought it was Metro. I have been hankering for a new Metro game since I finished Exodus. I love Metro Exodus. I love the Metro series. I read all the Metro books. I love that series of games. And I'm still waiting for a new Metro game. And I wait every year, and it hasn't come. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, got a new Metro. And then it was like, oh, no, it's Stalker 2. And I'm not disheartened because, like I said, I'm happy this game's coming out because this is made by Ukrainian developers. As we all know, with the war in Ukraine, they had a lot of issues, and which meant that this game had to be pushed back, and that some of the developers stayed to fight and things like that. So they had a lot of real life sort of strife, really, that they went through. And for a long time, there was that disheartened on fans and the Xbox community and everybody, really, as if this game was going to be made and would be released. So to finally see it here, and we got a release date that it's coming September the 5th, 2024, day one to Game Pass. I'm really happy and excited. I'm glad. And it just shows that through the real strife of life, the real sort of heartache of it all, that no matter what, human creativity will prevail and humanity will prevail. And it's just wonderful that it's coming out and that we now have a release date, and that team deserves all the praise for when this game comes out. I want people to play it and I want people to experience it. It's day one on Game Pass. It's September the 5th. Play it, experience it. They deserve all the love. So yeah, I was really happy to see it, because even though it wasn't Metro, to see that this game is still coming out and we have a release date which is set in stone, means it's done. I'm glad. I really, really am. Then I thought it was going to end at this point, and I got really sort of bummed out. But we got Sarah Bond. She came on and she spoke about an all digital Xbox Series X. So if you was waiting for it, here it comes. You can get an all digital Xbox Series X, as well as new colors. So they're now doing a white Xbox Series X. And there is a limited edition 2 terabyte Xbox Series X, which is in the color of a galaxy, which is like a sort of midnight blue with stars on it. Kind of looks like a bit like Starfield sort of thing, with a green base and a green top. That one's limited edition. As well as new storage options for Series X and S. I was kind of hoping, there's been rumors that Xbox are looking into the handheld market, kind of like a Steam Deck, but Xbox's own sort of Steam sort of device, which would be really, really cool. And I would even think about getting one myself, because not that I'm always out anywhere to play it, but on the days where, like, you know what, I can't bother to boot up my Xbox. I'm downstairs. I don't really want to go upstairs to my bedroom. Oh, it's all right. I'll just pull out my let's just call it the Xbox deck, for lack of better words. Pull that out. I'm going to play a bit of Halo. I'm going to play that new game on Game Pass. I'm going to play a bit of Indiana Jones for a bit. or Stalker 2 or whatever, right? I can just pull it out easily and I can just play for an hour or two and still get that experience, still get the quality, still get the frame rates and all that jazz just on a handheld. I don't know. For me personally, even though I'd never use it outside the house, just knowing that I could leave it downstairs and then when I feel like it, I can sit downstairs while my mom watches the soaps and go, you know what? I still want to be part of the family. I don't want to disappear, but I kind of want to have a bit of me time. Headphones in. Next thing you know, I'm playing Gears of War 6. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there playing Gears of War 5 or whatever. Like I'm sitting there experiencing Xbox while still being downstairs, still being sort of part of the family. So we were hoping for that. I was hoping for it. We didn't get it here. Maybe we'll get it later in the year, or maybe it doesn't exist at all. Who knows? But yeah, if anybody's looking for an all digital Xbox Series X, one's coming on the way. And as well as you can get it in white, or you can get the limited edition version. More than likely, I probably won't, because I'm quite happy with my Series X. So I'll probably stick with my black fridge of a console, which I still admit, granted it's a big, tall, black cube, I still think it looks better than the PlayStation 5. And yes, I did say that. That thing's a huge, over-designed monstrosity. I'd much rather have my small fridge Xbox than that over-designed piece of hardware. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I know I am. I've just set myself up. Tell you what, I'll keep it. I ain't going to edit it out. I'll keep it in because I'm being honest. And then finally, before we get onto the Xbox, the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct, like I said, I generally thought that they were going to end. I thought this is it. There's been no look at anything that I was really hoping for. And then Sarah Bond was like, I have one more game to show before we leave. And then this is the part where, as I said in the introduction, I've never cried at a showcase before. I have never really gotten emotional. And I haven't cried over a game trailer since this series. The last game trailer I cried at was for the last game. Well, the third game would have been the last game in the series at that time. They showed off Gears of War E-Day. They didn't give us a day. They said it's coming day one to Game Pass, which I was not surprised by. But we're going back to Immersion Day. We're going back to the very beginning. Well, not the very beginning. The Pendulum Wars do exist, and I would love to see a Gears of War Pendulum Wars game, or even if they do it as an expansion for this one. But I would just love to see the Pendulum Wars against the COG versus the UIR. And bring in the Pazang and bring in the Islanders, like who ties an Islander, for example. Bring in all those different factions and put them together before the Locust Horde. But this trailer got me really emotional because straight away it starts off and Marcus comes through the wall with a Locust. It was a Locust drone. It wasn't even a boom or anything like it. It was a Locust drone, but still. He came in and straight I was like, that's Marcus. And I thought like he was in trouble. I'm getting emotional, being like he's in trouble. He's hurt. Is he going to survive? And I realized, hold on a second, that's a young Marcus. And then he beats the crap out of the Locust. The ground breaks up from underneath him. He falls through, about to fall into an immersion hole. And who grabs him? As soon as I saw the hand, I knew the hand was. I knew it was, and this is where the tears came, because the hand grabs him, and as the hand's pulling Marcus up, I'm going to get emotional now talking about it. As the hand pull Marcus up, you just see Dom. And I didn't think I'll get emotional. I didn't think we would ever see Dom again. I'm getting emotional. I'm starting to tear up again. Bloody hell, what's wrong with me? Gears of War means a lot to me. It means a lot to people. I read the books. And I tell people, if you like Gears of War, read the books. Because people see Gears of War as a cover shooter, and it's big beefy, steroid-looking blokes and people that slam themselves against cover and stuff like that. But if you actually play the Gears games, they're a lot deeper than people give them credit for. They're a lot deeper in story and character. I've just finished reading Gears of War Anvil Gate. So I was in the right sort of frame of mind to get emotional. I get emotional over reading the books, trust me. But to see Dom again, who I didn't think we'd ever see him again, and to see young Dom, it was, yeah, I'm gonna get emotional again playing this game. And I don't care, because I got so emotional with this, and so excited, and so full of pure sort of relief, and um, sort of, I don't know, I can't even put into words how I felt. I was just so full of joy that we were gonna do another Gears game, and that they brought back the of, instead of Gears, it's Gears of War, and we're going back to E Day. We're going to the beginning of where it all started, where the immersion day straight. I think it was like 2 weeks after the Pendulum Wars. The locust struck, and it took us, well, us, I say, it took the cog unawares, and yeah, from there we're going to get like the Hammer of Dawn and things like that, and where that all began, and hopefully we get to see some of the things from the books. You know, we're going to get to see sort of Hoffman and Adam Phoenix and Chairman Prescott having the chat and the debate of if they should use the Hammer of Dawn, and then Hoffman losing his wife in that in that blast, and all that jazz. Like, hopefully we get some of that, and maybe we'll see a bit of Maria. We don't know. But maybe by this stage, this is when Maria goes missing and starts that sort of story. But this is also a great introduction for people, because if you think about it, you can always, I wouldn't say Gears of War is an intimidating series to get into, because you can always jump into Gears, like Gears of War, and you'll be all right. But this would be a good introduction for new fans. So like, this is your beginning. This is the beginning of the Locust War at Gears of War E-Day, and then from here you play Judgment, then Gears of War 1, and then so on and so forth. I'm just hoping that if this game does well, if this game, which I know it will do well, but if this game does well enough, and it's going to be Unreal 5, and we just know that this game is going to do Unreal 5 so much justice, and this game's going to be look absolutely gorgeous, as well as play absolutely gorgeously as well. All the Gears games are always gorgeous. To us, they are glorified tech demos, but they're just fantastic at the same time. But I'm just sort of hoping that if this game's successful, that they go, you know what, it was successful, it did well, we're doing a Pendulum Wars. I don't need a sequel to Gears of War E-Day 2. I don't need that. I think this game, and we don't know, I'm just going off the trailer. I just have a feeling that whatever this game's going to be, it's going to be a standalone, and it's going to go straight into why Marcus gets sort of put into prison, into the slab. And then it carries on then from like Gears of War 1. That's my feeling. Again, we don't know. But if this game is successful, I'm hoping that they do Pendulum Wars, either as a story expansion or its own separate game. I would love to see the Pendulum Wars done. I'd like to see Astro Fields. I always pronounce it wrong, but I'd like to see Astro Fields, where you've got Marcus and Dom's brother fighting in that battle. And then you've got Anya's mother, Helena Stroud. She's there as well. And you get to see young Dom as he joins the commando unit. And becomes a commando, and maybe even potentially we get to see young Baird and Cole basically thrown in the towel of enlisting into the cog after being sort of a fresher ball sort of champion, and decides to join and help out in the fight. These sort of things, that carry on the story of Delta. Because again, I'm interested to see what comes next in 6. Don't get me wrong, I want to see what happens next in the next sort of mainline sort of Gears game. But there are so many stories to tell in the past that the books do it fantastically, that the comics do it fantastically. I'd recommend both of them, really. But again, they're extended media. Not a lot of people are going to read them. Not many people are going to look out for them. So to have games that we can actually physically interact with and play, I'm all here for. So yeah, you can see why when it got to the Call of Duty Black Ops Direct show, that I missed a lot of it because I was just on cloud nine. My head was going mad. I was tweeting. I was on the Discord. I was sending messages to people, and my mind was just again racing of ideas, concepts of what this story could be, how it was structured. Are we going to see? Will it just be Dom and Marcus? Because again, by this stage, he hasn't met Baird, he hasn't met Cole. So will it just be them two? Will we get to see Adam Phoenix? Will we get to see Hoffman, Chairman Prescott? Will we see all these extra characters? Who knows? Blah blah blah. My mind was just going crazy. It still is going crazy now. So yeah, this is the one that I wanted to see. Sadly, we didn't get nothing off Halo, which, to be honest, I was kind of hoping for, but I'm not surprised we didn't. But yeah, we got nothing off Halo. We got Fable. We got Gears of War. And for me, Gears of War is the one that wins it. That is the reason, in my mind, Xbox won this showcase, and why it's an A-star plus, because of this incredible trailer and just bringing back Gears of War. I love it. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to people, really. And it's one of those games that I know people, again, like I said, I know people snigger at it because on the face of it, it is just a cover shooter. But trust me, if you play it and if you get invested into the story, into the characters, it's emotional. It's heartbreaking. And I've told this story before. When I was playing Gears 5, I won't go into spoilers for anybody who hasn't played that yet, but there's a choice at the end of Gears 5, and I made a choice, and then at the end of that choice, you get a bit of a cutscene, and you meet Marcus again, and Marcus asks you a question. I'm being sort of personally vague here, and then you reply with your choice of what you decided to do. And when I tell you that the look on Marcus's face broke me, and I broke down to tears, that I instantly didn't watch the rest of the cutscene. I reloaded the last save. Well, I tried to reload the last save, it wouldn't let me. It took me back to that scene again. So I restarted the level from the beginning so that I could get to that point, make a different choice, because I couldn't hurt Marcus again. Marcus has already been through a lot, and I couldn't hurt him again. I made a choice. I thought it was the right one. It was wrong. I saw Marcus's face. I saw his reaction. I couldn't do it to him. And it killed me to do it. So I had to change it and make it right. And that's just how much it means to me. It means a lot to me. So if you haven't played the Gears of War games, give them a go. Or if you're going to wait for this one, more than likely it's going to come out next year, or even maybe 2026. If you're willing to wait, you can wait for this one. But if you don't want to wait, then by all means, play the Gears games, give them a go, experience them. They're incredible. I highly recommend them. They mean the world to me. They mean the world to a lot of people. They are generally just that good. Yeah, but I've been talking about them for ages, so I can't go on anymore. And maybe when this one comes out, I'll review it, and maybe I'll even review all the other Gears of War games. That should be fun to do. But we'll see. We will see. So to wrap it up, we got to sort of the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct show. Like I said, I was so elated and so sort of overjoyed and clouded by Gears of War E-Day. I lost a lot of the information that was shown, and I didn't really write down any notes. But what I saw looked interesting. And I know I say that a lot. It's kind of my catchphrase now, interesting. I kind of sound like a broken record at this point. But I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. So I used to be a big Call of Duty fan. When the Xbox 360 came out, we had Call of Duty 2, then we bought Call of Duty 3. We did Modern Warfare. We did Black Ops. I fell off with Black Ops 2. Then I think I joined back on with. I think I did all the games after that, like Modern Warfare 3. I think Ghosts was my last one that I played on the 360. Then I fell off again. And after Ghosts, I went to Battlefield 3. And it was kind of the end of the Battlefield 3, so I played that for a bit. Then I went on to 4, played all of Battlefield 4. Then I played Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, and I haven't played Battlefield 1947, 46, whatever it is. I don't know. 19, or was it no, Battlefield 2046. I don't know. The new Battlefield anyway. Basically, I never played the new Battlefield because by that stage I'd fallen off as a fan. And funny enough, the new Call of Duties, the new Modern Warfare 1 and 2, and the new Black Ops has really sort of to bring me in. So it's kind of gone full circle where it's kind of like I used to be a Call of Duty fan. Call of Duty lost me. I went to Battlefield. Battlefield then lost me. Now I'm deciding if it's a good idea if I go back to Call of Duty again. And with this showcase direct, I think that is something that might happen now. I might make the turn and go into Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I love the Black Ops games anyway. I haven't played the last Black Ops, so I'm going to have to play that last one before I jump onto this one. But I'm excited for it. I'm interested. I'm more than likely I'll play the campaign, probably play a little bit of the online multiplayer, but most of my time will be between the campaign and zombies because we're bringing back round-based zombies, which is for some unknown reason they got rid of that for some crazy idea. But they're bringing back round-based zombies. I always enjoyed zombies from back in the day. I used to play that like all the time in World of War. So to have that come back and then to have a proper campaign that's done by Raven Software. Raven Software does not get enough love and credit as they deserve. The last great game they made was Singularity. Not a lot of people have played it. Not a lot of people have heard of it, but it's one of the best games on the 360, best shooter games anyway, and it's got an incredible story, and I absolutely love that game to death, and it's a game that I'd love to come back in backwards compatible. But yeah, it's made by Raven. They did the one for the last campaign. Apparently that campaign was incredible. So I'm glad they're back. So from what I saw, it's turning me over. I'm now moving away from Battlefield and I'm going to Call of Duty, which I'd never thought that would happen. I always thought that Call of Duty would always lose me, had lost me forever. But no, it's brought me back. Again, I'm not really big into the multiplayer. I might give the multiplayer a go. I'm not really an online player anymore, really. But that being said, I want to play the campaign. I want to play it. I want to experience it. I want to get back into Call of Duty. One thing that I was kind of hoping in this showcase that they never talked about, and I really thought she was going to at the very end before she mentioned Gears of War. I was really hoping that Sarah Bond or somebody was going to mention backwards compatibility. They mentioned game preservation. I thought, here we go. Here it is. I was really hoping, and I'm sure a lot of people were the same. I was really hoping that they were like, today, the Xbox, we're going to add all of the Activision back compatible games, all from the original Xbox and from Xbox 360. So all of those backwards compatible games are now playable on the Xbox or something like that, or even not all of them, just like there's all the ones that we could do. So no Spider-Man, sadly, because we couldn't get the license, but all of the Transformers games are now available backwards compatible on the store. You can, if you've got a physical disc, you can play them, or if you want to buy them digitally, you can. That's what I was hoping for. We didn't get it. It wasn't just because of the backwards game, but I was kind of hoping that they would add all the Call of Duty games, because part of me really wants to go back and play all the Call of Duty games from Call of Duty 2 and work my way up, because it's been a long time since I played those games and campaigns. Sadly, we never got an announcement like that today. I'm still hopeful that that is something that they will do or mention. But yeah, I thought today would be the day that we would hear that. Sadly, it wasn't. But yeah, what can you do? I was hopeful. We tried. Had my fingers crossed. Didn't come up. But definitely to wrap it all up, to kind of get to the end of it, because I've been talking for about 49 minutes or so now, it says currently on Audacity. Bloody hell. But to kind of wrap things up, kind of bring things to a close, I think Xbox One. Like I said, Jeff Keighley's show was all right. It was good. There were things that I liked. It was a C. We still haven't seen what Ubisoft has got to show. That comes tomorrow. But again, I don't think I'll be surprised by Ubisoft. I just feel like Ubisoft will play it like they do every year. You will see what you are expecting to see. You will see a Just Dance. You will see potentially a new Far Cry. You potentially see a new sort of a new Assassin's Creed, which we know that you're going to see Star Wars Outlaws. Like, unless they show Beyond Good and Evil or Rayman or something on those levels that I would be surprised to see, then I don't know if there's going to be anything that's going to be surprise me. So I'll play it. I mean, I'll play it, I'll watch it, and I will review it as I have done with Jeff Keighley's show and this show. But in my opinion, I think Xbox has won it. Xbox has won the Summer Games Fest, and I am just, I'm excited. I am in awe, and I am pumped and ready for this year's gaming from Xbox and next year. Sadly, again, Gears of War probably not until 2026, if we're being honest. Fable next year, but again, let them cook. And all the other games that are coming next year, let them cook. Even games that like mixtape and things like that, I'm not that really big interested in. Let it cook. 2025, I'm fine, because a lot of the things we're getting this year, I'm happy with, and I'm happy to wait with whatever is to come. So yeah, A star plus, whatever you want to call it, is the best. It won, in my opinion. I am in awe. Also, I am very, very tired. So I'm going to bring this to a close. Thank you very, very much for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure watching this and talking about it with you all. I know I've said the word interesting. I'm sure if somebody had the time to sit and count, I probably said it multiple times already, probably 20 plus times. So yeah, I do know I repeat myself. I do apologize, but it's just something that I do. But I'm glad, and I hope that people enjoy this. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, I got emotional at the end there. Gears of War means a lot to me. I'm excited to see more Gears. And yeah, so thank you very, very much for listening. If you listen to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't done so yet, please do. Again, make sure that you follow me on Twitter at Nerdstalgic_pod to kind of get my opinions and thoughts and feelings on the Ubisoft show tomorrow. And if you listen to this on Spotify on your mobile phone, then if you could leave a star rating, if you go to the About on my page, you'll be able to click on the stars, and then from there you have a choice between 1 to 5 stars where you feel like is fair. So yeah, I've been your host, Luke the Human. You've been listening to the Nerdstalgic podcast, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.